Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video on the channel today. I gotta be honest, right now I am grinning ear to ear. I just watched my Seahawks put an absolute pounding on the New York Giants. I mean, that game was ugly. I genuinely kind of felt bad for Daniel Jones, but with that game being over, Week 4 is officially in the books. I want to talk about the biggest things that we learned from Week 4 of the NFL season. Before I get into my list, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments down below what things I missed about this week in the NFL. Starting off with the first thing that we learned, I think we learned that the Bills are still the big brother in the AFC East. You know, there's a lot of hype around the Miami Dolphins. They scored 70 fucking points last week. I mean, that's pretty impressive. And a lot of people, thought that the Bills kind of were the second fiddle to the Dolphins in the AFC East. They thought maybe Miami had surpassed them. Maybe their offense was too good. And the Bills proved that that is not the case, at least not yet, right? In Buffalo, you know, they did have the advantage of the Bills Mafia, but Josh Allen was Superman. I mean, literally, he was Superman. He scored 5 touchdowns. The Miami defense could not stop him, right? I mean, they had no shot. You know, unfortunately, Miami had a corner playing on Stephon Diggs one-on-one most of the game. And, you know, God bless his soul, man. He was out there trying, but Stephon Diggs was cooking him alive. And it was not a fun matchup, and it led to a lot of touchdowns for the Buffalo Bills. And, you know, at first, Miami's offense, they were kind of able to go blow for blow with the Bills, but I think they kind of ran out of gas. I wouldn't say they had a bad day, but I just think they weren't as explosive as they could have been down the stretch. And with your defense, you know, giving up 48 points, you didn't really have a chance against Josh Allen and the Bills. So, as of right now, you know, the Bills are still the best team in the AFC East. I think they proved that. And outside of a little bit of a blunder on the first game of the year, which I kind of give them a lot of slack for. You know, it's first game, it's primetime in New York, whatever. Outside of the first game, they've looked like one of the best 2 or 3 teams in the NFL. I mean, that's 3 straight just thrashings of teams that they've been playing. The Bills look really good, and as of right now, they're still the best team in the AFC. Thing number 2 that I learned this week in the NFL, it is just too easy for Brock Purdy out there. I mean, it really is. This is no disrespect to Brock Purdy. This is not me calling him a bad quarterback. Nothing. But it is easy for him, man. I mean, he is having to just kind of turn around, give the ball to Christian McCaffrey, 4 touchdowns. His receivers are running open, you know, down the field, which is awesome. He's got Kyle Shanahan calling his plays. He's got a good offensive line. I mean, this is the perfect situation for a quarterback. You know, there's not a lot of quarterbacks that wouldn't succeed in this situation. And again, I'm not discrediting Brock Purdy. I'm not saying he's ass. I'm not saying any of that. He's proven that he's a good quarterback. But life is really easy for him right now. I mean, it is really easy. He could throw a screen pass to Deebo Samuel, and he can take it 30 yards, right? So life is really easy for Brock Purdy. He's been staying upright. He's been making good decisions, which is the most important thing in this Kyle Shanahan offense. And truthfully, the Niners probably look like the best team in the NFL right now, which is painful, and I want to keep myself in a good mood, so I'm not going to talk about them. But life is just too easy for Brock Purdy right now. Number 3, and this pains me. You guys know I like the Bears as well. They are officially the worst team in the NFL. They are. And this, I don't want to call it the Tank Bowl, because I really don't think a Tank Bowl can exist in Week 4 of the NFL season. But it did kind of have that feeling against the Broncos, 2 0-3 teams. The Broncos who just got shellacked last week for 70 points, and the Bears couldn't beat them. And not only couldn't the Bears beat them, they had the game of his life from Justin Fields. And he, at one point, I think, was like 26 of 28 for 4 touchdowns. Just video. This is like Madden numbers. And they couldn't win. They couldn't do it. They were up 28-7 at one point, up 21 points, you know, with a quarter and change left, and they just let that lead slip away. I think the most puzzling decision was that call to go for it on 4th and 1. You know, Matt Eberflus, he's a defensive head coach, and he just showed no faith in his defense there, and for good reason, I suppose, because then the Broncos drove right down the field and scored. It's just a very sad day for Bears fans. You know, I think it is becoming increasingly likely that they are going to get the first overall pick, which that in and of itself is not a bad thing. But, I mean, you can't not win a game since October 24th of 2022 and not be considered the worst team in the NFL. So I got to say the Bears are kind of undisputedly, officially, certifiably, it's a lot of big words, the worst team in the NFL right now. Number 4, the next thing I learned from this week in the NFL, CJ Stroud. Are you kidding me? This guy's awesome. You know, there was a lot of debate on which quarterback the Panthers should have taken first overall, C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young. Bryce Young has struggled a little bit. I'm not giving up on Bryce Young yet, but C.J. Stroud looks awesome. I mean, he's throwing to a lot of no-name receivers, I guess, before the season started, like, you know, John Mechie, Tank Dell, Nico Collins, guys who hadn't proven anything in the NFL yet. He's got a rookie head coach. He's got a terribly banged-up offensive line. I mean, they're on, like, their 3rd string for a few positions. and he's going up against arguably the best pass rusher in the NFL, in T.J. Watt. And he looked confident. He looked poised. He took care of the football, and he got another 20-point win. I mean, he beat the Steelers and the Jaguars back-to-back weeks by 20 points. Those are more likely the Jaguars than the Steelers, but those are two potential playoff teams in the AFC. I mean, this C.J. Stroud kid looks really, really good. Again, the Texans aren't giving him a lot to work with right now. The situation he's in is not ideal, and he's making it work. And that is, I think, the number one awesome sign of a quarterback, when you can kind of make it work around you. So very, very impressed with what I've seen from C.J. Stroud. And if he can continue to play like this, the Texans could set themselves up for a very, very good future. Good job to C.J. Stroud. And lastly, the fifth thing I learned about the NFL this week, appropriately, is about Devon Witherspoon, the 5th overall pick in the draft. And, yeah, he's pretty good. He is pretty good. There was a lot of discourse on the Seahawks' pick of Devon Witherspoon, whether or not they should take Jalen Carter. And the Seahawks made it very clear that they did not want the character issues of Jalen Carter to, I guess, infect their franchise. And, in the first couple of weeks of the season when Devon Witherspoon missed, it was kind of looking like a stupid Seahawks draft pick. People wanted to point out how dominant Jalen Carter had been, how many pressures, how he was dominating pretty much right out of the gate. And I kind of sat back and I was like, well, I want to see Devon Witherspoon play. I want to see what he looks like. I want to see what he did. He kind of got cooked in his first game against Detroit. Played better, I thought, last week against the Carolina Panthers. And, oh, God, did he look amazing today. I mean, he really, really did. Just today alone, he had 2 sacks, 7 tackles, a pick 6, another pass breakup, and 2 TFLs. This guy is a monster. He's a physical corner. He is willing to go up there and tackle. His play recognition looks great. His awareness, everything like that. He looks awesome. Now, I don't know if he's going to be playing in the nickel for the rest of the season after what he did tonight. I don't know how you couldn't put him in the nickel, but I don't know where he's going to be aligned for the rest of the season, once Kobe Bryant and Trey Brown come back. But my gosh, Devon Witherspoon. I mean, the entire Seahawks defense looked like the 85 Bears out there. 11 sacks, 2 picks, a forced fumble recovery. It was masterful work out there. But the defensive MVP is no doubt Devon Witherspoon. And I am very, very pleased with what I've seen from him. And truthfully speaking, guys, and I know I have a little bit of Seahawks bias. I'm wearing the jersey. Obviously, I'm biased, right? If the Seahawks, if Devon Witherspoon specifically, can be as good as he's been, and Tariq Woolen is, what he proved to be last year, the Seahawks legitimately have the best cornerback duo in the NFL. Like that. The pass rush looked a lot better today. Actually, it looked better last week as well. And I'm going to put a little asterisk around it because, they were going against a banged-up offensive line for the Giants. But 11 sacks is 11 sacks, and it's not particularly easy to sack Daniel Jones. He is an athletic, mobile quarterback. I honestly thought there were 2 or 3 sack opportunities that were missed from the Seahawks just because of Daniel Jones' mobility. And there were a couple, 1-yard gains that were essentially sacks, right? But, man, Devon Witherspoon is that guy. And I don't think we're going to be hearing a lot of people complain that the Seahawks didn't take Jalen Carter for a while now. So that is what I learned from Week 4 of the NFL season. If you guys enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Comment down below what you guys think and what you guys learned from Week 4 of the NFL season. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out. Have a great day.